Well, good morning, everyone. How are you? I got an echo in here. Okay, I'm on the road, but I'm still going to do a podcast this morning. Let me just see if I put my microphone on here. Might be a little bit better for you guys. I can hear sort of, let me just do this again. There we go. And let me know if you can hear me and see me as you get your, I don't have another device with me this morning. Let me just see here. I'm going to put this here. Okay. How's that sound? You all right? I'm getting an echo, but okay. So, how you guys doing? Okay, I'm getting lots of thumbs up. Good. Nice to be on with you this morning. We appreciate you taking your time out of your busy day. And we love you guys. Thanks for coming on. And let's see here. I got a few studies I want to talk about this morning. We'll just wait for a few folks to come on. Just a couple of announcements. Friday is Q&A, so get your questions in to info@martinclinic.com. Info@martinclinic.com. We'll get your questions to us for Q&A Friday. Often turns into Q&A Monday. Okay, so get your questions in. You can refer people to their smart device to get the Doctor Is In podcast. All of these are turned into podcasts. You can review them on your favorite smart device. And so tell folks about that, the Doctor Is In podcast. Okay, we love when you guys give us a high review there, show us love, and we fire it right back to you. What a great audience we have. I always tell folks, greatest audience, health audience in the world is our group. And you know why I know that? Because you guys are the smartest. How do I know that? Because I test you all the time, and you always get the right answers. Whenever I do a review and you guys, I try and trick you, I can't trick you, okay? I can't trick you. Okay, let's look at yesterday. We were talking about diverticulosis. Remember that? Someone on the Q&A had asked about it, and this person actually lost 13 inches of their colon. Ooh, that's no fun at all. Can you imagine that the perforation there in those little, see what diverticulosis is you get little pouches in the intestine, and they can become infected because the feces can get caught in there and cause an infection. But I'll tell you what else can get caught in there: spinach. That's what I told folks whenever they came to see me with IBS, ulcerative colitis. Most of the time, and they didn't even realize this, they were eating way too much fiber, including spinach. Now, I've always said this about spinach, okay, guys? Popeye lied. Popeye lied. Popeye didn't get strong eating spinach, okay? He didn't. He said he did, but he didn't. It wasn't spinach. It was meat. Because spinach, you have nutrients in spinach, like calcium and iron. They always talk about iron in spinach. But you know what? You don't even get that. You don't get the iron really from spinach. You know why? It's not the right type of iron. You need heme, H-E-M-E, iron. That's the iron that your body absorbs. Not in spinach, but in steak, okay? Now, they both start with S, but vitamin S, the real vitamin, is steak. You want to help your bowel, eat steak, not spinach. I'm not kidding you, thousands, I don't think I'm exaggerating, over all my years in practice, I had thousands of women, mostly women, not all women, but mostly women, get off their salads in order to save their bowel. I said, well, you weren't built for that. Your stomach wasn't built for that. We talk about that all the time. Your stomach has an acidity that's for steak, not for. And if you wanna eat salad, well, have it once in a while, but don't live on it. Especially if you have bowel problems. You just got to get off. The fiber is overrated, and spinach. Now, let me say something here, okay? Because I don't know if I've ever said this. I probably have. You know what people bring up? Okay, let me do something here. Okay, let's spend a couple of minutes on this topic. What's better for you? A hot dog? Okay, forget the bun, okay? Just the hot dog. Or spinach. Okay? What's better for you? I know the hot dog is not the greatest source of meat. I understand that, okay? But if you throw away the bun, I'll tell you something. The hot dog is better for you than spinach is. People, here's what they threw in my face all the time. Well, Dr. Martin, it's meat that like bacon, and they have all those nitrates, and I mean that like lunch meat and deli meat, that's no good for you. I'll tell you, it's a lot better for you than spinach is. What? I know it goes against the grain, but listen to this. Do you know that spinach has 80 times more nitrates than a hot dog does? You didn't know that, eh? Yeah. And oxalates. Very, very high in oxalates. And guys, I'm not saying you can never have it, but all I'm saying is this. I don't like when people bring fake news to me. And they say, well, I mean, come on. Like, okay, you talk about a steak. Okay, we all agree. Steak is good for you. Okay? Well, we don't all agree, but I know my audience does. But a lot of people don't realize that the amount of nitrates that are in salad. Because they always think of bacon. Well, you know, I'm looking for bacon without nitrates. What? Okay? 80 times more nitrates in spinach than there is on a hot dog. Okay? I'm not telling you to live on hot dogs either. I'm just telling you, when people throw that at me, you see, most plants, and people don't realize this either, most plants are not edible. They self-protect themselves. Like oxalates. And you just don't go in the bush and eat a plant. Do you? Right? Most of them have their own protective mechanism, including nitrates and oxalates. And, you know, so again, I'm not saying don't eat it. I'm just saying don't live on it. Okay? So I want to bring that out because somebody said that to me the other day, you know, even on our site, you know, well, Dr. Martin, like, what about the nitrates in lunch meat and all that? Well, lunch meat is a whole lot better for your kids and your grandchildren than a granola bar is, okay? Because that's what, granola, I'm sending them to school with a granola bar. I said, well, I mean, that's not good for you. That's not good for you. Okay. Here's another study. Protecting your bones during menopause. Okay, this is a study on osteoporosis. And I learn something, guys, every day. Okay? So if you ask me, okay, Dr. Martin, I'm worried about osteoporosis, okay? And you're a woman, you should worry about osteoporosis, okay? Thinner, it's not always women that are thin, but when you're thinner, usually your risk of osteoporosis is slightly elevated, okay? Menopausal women, osteoporosis is elevated. There's no doubt about that. So what do? Well, I talk about that all the time. Well, your biggest thing, and even medicine would agree with this, is vitamin D. Okay, you need vitamin D because that's really helps bones, and especially vitamin D with K2. So when you're eating eggs, meat, and cheese, guess what you're getting? You're getting vitamin D in the food. Vitamin D is in the animal kingdom, okay? And you get calcium. The most bioavailable calcium is not in spinach. It's in meat. It's in eggs. It's in dairy. God wants you to eat dairy. So don't cancel dairy. Okay? Switch dairy. Like, I want you to switch dairy. I don't want you drinking milk for your bones. You don't need to drink milk. Eat butter. Eat cheese. Eat yogurt if you want. Okay? Plain. Greek. Okay? Because it's good for you. There's a lot of protein, but you got calcium, you got vitamin D, and you got vitamin K2. It's right in nature. God put it right in nature in those foods for your bones. So I've been saying that for 50 years and more. Okay? You need vitamin D. You need calcium from food, not from supplements. With K2. Food with K2 and vitamin D with vitamin K2, because K2 takes calcium and puts it where it belongs. So we talk about that. You guys know this. That's part of you understand that, okay? Even the world out there sort of understands it. They don't understand vitamin K2 too much because they don't talk about it, okay? And again, K2 is found in the animal kingdom. It's not in the plant kingdom. Now, okay? So we have it right in nature. And what would the other thing that you do for your bones? Well, magnesium. Magnesium's important for the absorption of your calcium. Okay? It's important for magnesium. And so we talk about magnesium all the time. Here's one, though. It's a new kid on the block as far as osteoporosis, because this study has said, I didn't know it. I'm always learning something. So if I say to you, quercetin, Quercitin, quercetin, okay? Quercetin. If I say that to you, what do you think? Okay? I wish I could read your answers, because you guys know this. Quercetin, Dr. Martin, that's for allergies. Why? Well, it decreases your, it helps, it's an antihistamine. It helps to block the histamine coming from the mast cells, M-A-S-T, mast cells. Those are white blood cells that give off histamine, okay? So when you take an antihistamine, quercetin in nature, I love, by the way, in allergies, I've done this for years, I love combining quercetin with pine bark Nabitol, okay? Very powerful combination in terms of antihistamine. So when you look at quercetin, okay, you think antihistamine. Now, you might also think, this is sort of new too. I probably brought this to you in the past, but this is, how long have I known about quercetin and uric acid, gout? It helps in terms of uric acid, helps to, look, Everybody makes uric acid, but quercetin helps to lower uric acid. Now, again, you need some uric acid. It's just a byproduct in the body. Okay? It's a byproduct. Everybody makes uric acid, but if you don't get rid of it, okay, your body is made, especially between the liver and the kidneys, to get rid of uric acid. Now, uric acid isn't necessarily gout. A lot of people do get gout, and it's a much more prevalent condition. Look, gout has been around for as long as man has been around. And they called it the king's disease, and the reason is because usually the peasants didn't get it. The rich people and the king, they got it. And they said, well, the king, look at him, he's eating red meat. Nah, it really wasn't that. He was drinking too much wine and beer, you see. Drinking too much wine and beer. And because, again, fructose has a big effect on uric acid. What happens in the liver don't stay in the liver. Okay, so I've taught you that in the past. And quercetin helps to decrease levels of uric acid. Uric acid is important because here at the Martin Clinic, you know what we've done at the Doctor Is In podcast? We've added uric acid as a blood test. If you read our book, Sun, Steak, and Steel, and Sleep, and Coffee, and Salt, it's all in there. But we talk about, in our chapter on uric acid, or on blood tests, we talk about adding your uric acid levels, because usually when they're elevated, even without gout, you have metabolic syndrome. It is a factor in metabolic syndrome. I've added that, okay? I don't know if anybody else has ever added that to the list, but I have. What else did I add to that list? Vitamin D to metabolic syndrome, and B12 to metabolic syndrome, okay? High triglycerides, low HDL, slightly elevated blood pressure, slightly elevated A1C. These are all indicators, okay, of metabolic syndrome. Quercetin lowers uric acid. Now, okay, here's another thing, hot off the presses, okay? A new study on quercetin. Who knew? It says this, okay, that quercetin is very effective in preventing osteoporosis in menopause. So quercetin is very effective in preventing osteoporosis in menopause. Wow, so add it to the list. Okay, I kind of surprised by that because who knew? You know what, folks, I'll tell you something. When it comes to health, I read everything I can. Like, I have more information thrown at me during the day. Okay, you have no idea. Okay, and I read everything I look at every headline, and if I find it, I flag it and I read it. I read the studies, I read the articles, I read. Okay? And I'm always learning. Because science, okay, real science is observation. Okay, real science. You know, the science is settled. Not on everything. Otherwise, it's not science. It's not settled. There's all, I was reading, we talked about this yesterday on, I went and looked at some studies on mammograms and, the use of them. I'm always learning that. I want to know what the stats are. Is it really worth getting a mammogram done? Okay? I was reading a study yesterday on colonoscopies. Is it really worth it? Like, you have to look at the side effects of it, the possible side effects, versus the benefits of it. Okay? And anyways, I'm reading articles on that. We'll do some shows on some of those topics. Well, we already did it on mammograms versus thermography yesterday. I answered the question. yesterday. So you'll have to wait. That'll be a podcast by the end of the week. Now, okay, so quercetin, really, I would add it to the list if you are looking to prevent. The study is pretty impressive on quercetin and menopausal osteoporosis, okay? It actually helps to protect your bones. Okay, so guys, I wanted to do a little bit of a shorter version this morning, okay, because I'm on the road and I've got to get to meetings. So if, let's just remind everyone about Friday and send in your questions to Q&A, okay? Q&A, send in your questions to info@martinclinic.com, info@martinclinic.com. Don't be shy. Ask your questions. Okay, guys, we love you. We thank you for putting up with my shenanigans at times, a lot of times, but we appreciate our audience here big time. Love you dearly. Talk to you soon.